Hello everyone, this is Gene. I'm back with another video. I hope everybody is well, having a pretty nice, quiet Saturday thus far. Reminder that I'll be on Taylor Johnson, That Black Apathetic Queen, or The Apathetic Black Queen. You changed your screen name recently. It's hard for me to remember. But I'll be on her stream at 4:30 today for anyone who is interested. But I just wanted to make a brief video because I was scrolling through Le Twitter, as you often do on a Saturday morning, and I came across this image posted by an account called Cool Comic Art, which typically posts art of classic comics. And I was really touched actually by this particular image because it shows Muhammad Ali and Superman shaking hands. And it says, Superman, we are the greatest. And it got me thinking about, um, at least to me, what I think comics from about the 40s to maybe about the 2000s, right, were trying to do when it came to, say, social issues or having social themes in the works. A lot of people use the word political for this, right? Political themes. I don't really think comics really touched upon politics most of the time. You might have some like Watchmen that did, but I think your average hero comic coming out of DC or Marvel for those decades probably touching more upon social issues. In particular, works like XMen, right, were touching upon social issues than they were political issues. And the reason I think of this is because there's been debate recently about X-Men 97, the new supposed to be continuation of the uh, X-Men, the animated series cartoon that originally ran from 1992 to 1997, and whether or not it's going to be woke, especially in the face of news that uh, several of the bigwig people, like the supervising producer or whatnot, have made tweets, that are anti-Trump and usual, sort of very divisive um, uh, Twitter activity, right? Very, say, aggressive far left type tweets. And the news recently that the voice actress who played Jubilee in the original cartoon is apparently stepping away from the role because of the fact that she, at least from what I've heard, she said that she wants an Asian woman to have the role because Jubilee is a Chinese American character. Right, so these type of things give me pause as a Marvel fan, as an X-Men fan. Now, there's a whole other video I could do about that. I think Taylor and I will discuss this in more detail this afternoon. But what I want to say is that I think that for better or worse, and this is not to say comics always got it right. I actually think comics probably, if you look over all the comics from like DC or Marvel that touched upon social issues, probably missed more than they hit, to use baseball terminology. But I like to believe that even if it was very imperfect, that comics, mainstream comics in general during those decades, were trying to achieve this and instill this in its readers, right? Having two people who couldn't be any more different, right? Muhammad Ali, a black Muslim, very outspoken, a very controversial figure in the real world, right? Because of his attitude and his trash talk and his confidence, being this outspoken black man. His refusal to go to Vietnam because of his religious beliefs, right? And then you have Superman, who's like the total opposite of all that, right? He's not the type to really get in people's faces or he's sort of like, again, the embodiment of American cultural ideals, small town Midwestern values, right? So you have two people who couldn't be any different, and yet you have a comic featuring them and featuring Ali, right, in a positive light. and having him say that we are the greatest. This is what I think comics was trying to do, perhaps imperfectly, but I think this is what comics in general were going for, to take people who were different in every way, from appearance to personality to belief system, and they were trying to bring them together, right? It kind of reminds me of like, what is it, Rocky Four, at the end of Rocky Four, when Rocky beats Drago, right? And he talks about how, you know, anyone can change, or how, you know, the U.S. and Russia don't have to fight anymore, and all this other stuff, or even to use Rocky, continuing, right, his rivalry and then friendship with Apollo, right? Apollo was based on Muhammad Ali, right? And Rocky, to my knowledge, was based, at least in large part, on Rocky Marciano. So again, two people, both in fiction and in reality, who couldn't be any different from each other, and yet you had them coming together as friends, as rivals, as teammates, as brothers, right? And I think that in the sadly in the 20 to 25 years since, depending on where you want to start it, sadly I think that sense of brotherhood, that sense of coming together, of saying that we are the greatest, even if we are, you know, just different in every way, has sadly died from uh, comics for a variety of reasons. There are too many reasons to list, but sadly, that sense of friendship, of camaraderie, of someone who is so different from you being your brother or sister, being your teammate, being your ally, being your friend, has sadly died away. And I think that, given the incredibly hyperbolic and very reactionary and exaggerated sensationalist nature of not just Twitter, but of social media, only contributes to this further divide that we are experiencing, sadly, as a society, right? It's no longer debates about whether this character could beat that character, or who's got the cooler power set, or, you know, should this character end up with that character. It's no longer fandom debates that we're having. We're having debates over social issues, right? And on top of that, we're drawing lines in the sand, and we're developing tribes, which is human nature, right? You know, there's always been that rivalry, for example, between DC and Marvel, right? But it's gone from, okay, I support this team and you support that team, but we still respect each other. Now it's gone to, right, people just don't want to talk, or if they're talking, they just always want to fight. It's just gone too far. And sadly, a lot of our media, not just comics, but comics plays a big role in it, I would say, because the comics get adapted to the films, and then people who are not familiar with the comics watch the films, and this, that, and the other. But our media in general, after decades of presenting media to us in the mainstream, of people of different backgrounds and personalities and religions and races and whatnot coming together, the same media that spent decades telling us, hey, just because this person is different does not mean that they can't be your friend, right? Is now saying anybody who is not like you, or anybody who disagrees with you, is your enemy, and you must cast them out, and you must destroy them. And honestly, and I think I left this comment in one of Tristan's videos recently, because she made a video about, is XMen woke and all this other stuff. She's of the opinion it is. I'm of the opinion it's not. But we're of different opinions. Nothing new. But there was this. I left a comment either on that video or another one where I talked about the psychology of killing, of murder, right, and what militaries do to help, if you want to call it that, their soldiers get over the natural hesitancy to kill. And one of the things that they do is that they use slurs, they use demeaning language to describe the enemy in an attempt to dehumanize them. Because if they're not human to you anymore, it's easier to attack them, right? So I think sadly that's what a lot of our media has done. They have, whether we realize it or not, they have turned us against one another, right? And have gotten us to use various slurs and whatnot to dehumanize our supposed ideological enemy. And I think that we as a society, regardless of where you fall on the culture wars or the comics debate, or whether you're a Marvel fan or whether you're a DC fan, you're an indie fan, you're Comicsgate, you're anti-Comicsgate, whatever it is, all sides of the debate need to remember that the goal should be this. It should be a coming together, not a tearing apart. Now, yes, you should remove bad actors, right? Nobody wants or needs bad actors or sincerely toxic people in any fandom. But the goal in all of this should be to create unity, not to create dissension and further that divide, right? It shouldn't be to create a schism or to create more schisms. It should be to heal the rift, not to expand it, right? I hope that at some point, I don't know when, where, or how it's going to happen, but I hope at some point, one day, we as geeks, nerds, whatever everyone use the term, or just as Americans, or just as citizens of the world, or whatever terminology you want to use, can say something like this again, that we are the greatest, that we can get along and agree to disagree, and we don't have to fight over every minor disagreement or difference of opinion. I hope it happens within my lifetime. uh, we will see what happens, but I just wanted to share something a bit more positive than what I usually do. And I saw this image and it just really touched me. So I hope this, if anything, has at least given you something to think about. So if everyone's doing well, RJ is currently snoozing in my bed. You guys will probably see him later. So I hope everybody has a good, happy, safe Saturday. I know the holidays are coming up for a lot of people. I'm not exactly a holiday person. It's just like a normal day off for me. But for those who like their Thanksgiving, enjoy your turkeys and enjoy your families and your time off. And I will see y'all around. Have a good day or night wherever you are.